Evenfall of the Apocalypse is the second full-length album from Ascended Dead, a San Diego based death metal group who eventually some of the members moved to Portland. So some people will say it's a Portland death metal band, others will say it's San Diego, kind of both. Same difference, it's a West Coast death metal band with a what I would consider a bestial or war metallic touch to their sound. Now, there's a couple different approaches to what that means. This is not necessarily a blasphemy style band so much as it is more, not even really an Archcoat style band. Their roots really are in traditional death metal, sort of a chaotic touch to the Morbid Angel school of riff and spectacle. So, really, as we get into what this band is and their history, the way that I frame it is this type of band arose around the same time that groups like Beyond, a German group, Vorum, and Degial did, which they added a ridiculous amount of speed from bestial death metal into those traditional riff structures, and they just throttled as many riffs into that as they could. Consider that this style is really only been carried on by a few bands, and I would certainly say like Omega Vortex and some other bands like that really found that standard and continued running with it. Ascended Dead, basically, for me, they've always felt like a snapshot of that era where war metal was kind of getting a little bit bigger for a lot of people, but traditional death metal was really all that they were trying to play, and they just did it in a very frantic, chaotic state, which was always entertaining. Now, I didn't know about the band until their first EP came out, and that sort of set the standard of my expectations. And what we'll do here is let's just get into the first song, and if you're familiar with their first album, Abhorrent Manifestation, you'll see why this is kind of the same thing, but a little bit better. So I really had to belabor the point here on this release, or this review, as I continually kind of make the point of what they are, which is a mixture of old school death metal and war metal, or bestial death metal. And the other point that this record is iterative in the sense that it meets the standard of the first record, but builds upon it with better performances, a little bit more cleaner production values, definitely a louder, more bold presentation, and much more technical playing, especially as we consider the ambitions of the drummer in many, many bands, and the guitar work now including a more shred level of attack to most of its presentation and composition. So there still is a seed of that possessed, obsessed lead guitar style with the runs kind of firing off in an illustrative speed metal sense, and I think that's kind of the best side of this band, and it comes out on side A, and then on side B, they they start to run out of songwriting ideas and lean a little bit more into spectacle, where they touch upon a little bit of Morbid Angel and a little bit of simpler song structures, while throwing in some interesting solos and whatnot to keep it moving. Sort of some of the best parts of the album come on the second side, but it's more so right as it starts off and then right as it ends. The title track is especially strong, but they sort of, in both of their records, they stop and play a little bit of an acoustic guitar uh, interlude, a piece that breaks the album up. And on this one, clearly they've touched upon some fingerstyle guitar and flamenco for this piece, and it becomes much bigger than expected. On the first album, Dormant Souls was sort of an acoustic guitar piece, and this one, it's a full instrumental that sort of goes somewhere that was a little bit unexpected. So that's cool. It definitely feels like the second Ascended Dead record, and I think that's a great thing. They've been very consistent and built upon that original personality. I don't know that it stuck with me. I think that it's more like they've compounded and compacted down what the Ascended Dead gig is and what you would expect from them in kind of a live setting. I don't think they've written a song that I'm going to remember forever, apart from a couple of the stronger points on the earlier portion of the record. And uh, specifically, I felt like Abhorrent Manifestation was pretty strong. And later on, what is it? Inverted Ascension. It's I think probably one of the best songs on the record. So definitely check those out and see if that's like to your temperature. And overall, it is a high recommendation. I don't think that it's going to stick in my collection forever. The first album didn't necessarily, but it is a band that anytime I see them on a bill, I go see them live because I think that there's a lot that translates between the chaos of their records and their performances that is really effective, and it's a cool band, which kind of links the traditional with the kind of absurdly brutal. So check that out if that's your type of thing. So a little bit more detail in the written review if you want to check that out. And there you go.